We'll get started with our session. I want to welcome everyone to our session. My name is Brandon Weesey, and I will be the host for this TLC session titled Introducing the Applied Doctoral Project. It will be presented by Dr. Peggy Sundstrom, Dr. Tim Rice, and Dr. Rebecca Wardlow. We are excited that you have joined us today to hear the presentation. The chat window will be open during the session, so please do feel free to participate, ask any questions, and as we have time at the end or throughout, we will get to those questions, but please welcome Dr. Peggy Sundstrom.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Excited to be with you because we're now part of Ashford, and we're very excited to come over as the College of Doctoral Studies. So the presenters today, Tim Rice, Rebecca Wardlow, and myself, are 3 of the 7 full-time faculty members who are coming with the College of Doctoral Studies, and we're really looking forward to getting to know you. We thought with our presentation today that we would provide information about a relatively new program that the Rockies started over the past 2 years called the Applied Doctoral Program, or the ADP. And our intent today is to explain why we created the Applied Doctoral Project and what differentiates it from a dissertation. We'll give you some examples of the kind of research that students do with an ADP, and then we'll tell you how we prepare students for success in that doctoral research project, and talk a little bit about the role of the chair and the committee and the methodologist. We have we've changed the format of student committees, both for the dissertation and the ADP. So we'll explain that as well. We will be giving you a lot of information in a short period of time. There are a couple of links in our PowerPoint presentation to some handbooks that you may find useful after this presentation. And of course, we will be more than happy to answer questions. At the end of the presentation is a set of email addresses where you can connect with us. For those of you who are watching contemporaneously, great, we welcome you. For those who may be watching this presentation at a later date, feel free to reach out to any of us to get your questions answered. So we're going to start with some background of the ADP project, and Tim Rice is going to take it from here. Tim.
Thank you. I'm really excited to talk with you all today about this. I need to get my screen okay. All right. Okay. Having some technical difficulties here. I'm controlling your screen now. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm having an issue of there we go. Sorry. It's a little bit slow right now. I'm going to go back real fast here. My apologies. There we are. One of the things with this project, and I've been very fortunate to work with this group of talented faculty members here in our past experience with the University of the Rockies, and also now with Ashford University and the College of Doctoral Studies. And first, I want to talk a little bit about kind of the programs that we have in the College of Doctoral Studies currently, and 2 of our new, really excited about programs. But first, we have the Ph.D. in Organizational Development and Leadership, and also a Ph.D. in Education and in Human Service. And we have multiple specializations in the Doctor of Psychology program, which I am the program chair over. And then we just had 2 recently approved doctoral programs, the Doctorate of Management, the DM, and the EDD, or the Doctor of Psychology, or Education program. One of the things with, one of the things with this project, and it is different, obviously, than a dissertation. We're going to talk about that over the next few minutes. All students that start a program here at Ashford in the doctoral program are required to complete a doctoral research project. And it is a formal paper based on original research that adds to the existing knowledge in the topic area. And again, this is a doctoral research project is an ADP or a dissertation, depending on the program that you're in academically. Our biggest thing is to basically help students demonstrate mastery of the technical aspects of research and the topic area they're looking at for their study. And in that next box, of course, we're looking at analysis, synthesis, evaluation of data, and other information to draw conclusions. And of course, in any doctoral project, we're looking at it from a standpoint of formal academic language, following specific guidelines for content and for formatting. Excuse me. There we go. The big differences between, excuse me here, we're having some, for some reason it's jumping ahead there. The PhD program and the PsyD programs are a little bit different. Of course, in the PhD program, we're helping further students' knowledge as a scholar and researcher. And in the PhD, all PhD students are looking to do a dissertation that is problem-based and addresses a gap in the literature. And that's one thing that's really, really big difference between an ADP and a dissertation. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And of course, as I just mentioned, individuals that are in the PhD program have to complete a dissertation. In the PsyD program, it's more practitioner, scholar-based. So folks that are in the EDD program, the PsyD program, and the DM program are going to be basically folks that are practitioners in the field already and want to do practice-based research. Really, the biggest thing is we're looking at issues, situations, problems, or other opportunities to advance knowledge in that field that they're in. And basically, each student that's in one of those three programs is going to be completing an ADP as their culminating doctoral research project. One of the things, and I'm waiting for this, it's going a little slow right now. Okay, as far as the ADP is concerned, in July 1st of last year, in 2017, all beginning PsyD students and any students that are future students that are in non-PhD programs are required to complete an ADP. And any students that had not started the dissertation work before that time have been administratively switched over to the ADP. That's in the PsyD program as it stands right now. Now, all students in that program have the opportunity to actually switch over to a dissertation if they'd like, but they have to go through a justification call, excuse me, with me as a PsyD director, and in the case in the future with the EDD program with Dr. Wardlow, and then our future DM faculty member in that area. The ADP is intended to extend or apply research, okay, that looks at real-world settings or practical situations. And it's a little different than a traditional dissertation, and it's really more appropriate for folks that want to go in and into their practice in their profession, and really applying existing knowledge. And we're going to talk a little bit about the differences here in a second. But it is something we're very excited about, and we've seen a lot of progress with our students in this project here so far. And again, let's see here. Our screen is moving a little slow here. Dr. Sundstrom, could I ask you to move that slide forward, please? Because I'm having problems on my end, unfortunately.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can you see it now?
I can see it. It's not in the full screen, so if you go up to display settings, please. I'm sorry.
It is showing in my screen, Tim, as full settings. So.
Okay. So what we're going to do here, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. And this is my mistake, apparently, on this. But one of the differences, and we'll just take a quick look at the differences. Some of the biggest differences in terms of intent, both of the projects are going to be intent on demonstrating expert knowledge based on the literature that you see in your practice or in any area that you're looking at in terms of research. As far as the research focus, big difference between a dissertation and ADP is in a dissertation, you have to examine a gap in the literature. Within the ADP, you only have to basically look for existing situations in the field, that there could be theory that you're already using that you're adding on to. So it's a little bit different than a dissertation. As far as your format is concerned, excuse me, in the ADP you have 4 chapters: a justification, review of literature, project approach, and findings, evaluation of findings and recommendations. In a dissertation, you have 5 chapters, and that includes an introduction, review of literature, methods, results, and a discussion. Basically, in the ADP, the 4th chapter is a combination in some ways of chapters 4 and 5 in the dissertation. The standards are described in each of the handbooks, and typically with regard to length of time to complete, many of our students do wonder, well, how long does it take to finish? Well, it depends. What I say typically to all my students, it all depends on the work that you put in, but it also has a lot of variables, of course, with each student. You're going to have 5 classes that are required for each of those projects, which will be communicated later in the presentation. And of course, the types of studies: study with an applied focus from the standpoint of the ADP, and of course, from applied studies and basic science varies in a dissertation. Attended audience, applied practitioners in ADP, and academic scholars in the dissertation. And in the process, which will also be discussed later, project chair, committee member, and methodological reader will be carrying out the project with the student. Now, as far as types of ADP studies are concerned, there's so much flexibility in the ADP, tons of flexibility. Basically, we're looking at different theories and frameworks and trying to examine the applications of those. And as far as one of the things, these are just some great examples: survey study, examining opinions, attitudes, or practices within a discipline; program evaluation; any kind of training program, instructional manual, programmatic guide that's grounded in solid research literature. And one of the things that I've been working with a lot of my students when I talk with them in our in-residence program and every other aspect, whether I'm chairing or on a committee, is looking at how the information we learn can be implemented, and we can come up with a plan for after the research. A review and an integrated analysis of the literature is another great example. Meta-analysis, systematic reviews are great. Of course, that's at the very bottom here. Theoretical paper describes a new or novel perspective regarding a relevant issue to the profession. Case studies, single subject studies are also allowed. And of course, as I mentioned, a meta-analysis of the research or a systematic literature review relating to an applied issue within the field. So there's so much that can be offered to students that want to go this direction. A lot of people think that have been asked, well, they've asked me a lot, well, is ADP easier than dissertation? And that is not the case at all. It's just different. And it's different for all of our students that are in the PsyD program. Many of the students that are practitioners and really want to make a difference in the field, they have a chance to do that here. As I like to say to my students, they get to put a feather in their cap, literally almost, that can help them climb the ladder in their profession. And we're starting to see a lot of great study designs that are coming forward. And we're really excited because in our in-residences, when we teach these students, they're coming up with some really cool ideas. And so we're excited to be part of that as we go forward.
Great. Thanks, Tim. Quick overview, as I said, lots more information available. Just ask. When we think about students being successful in a doctoral program, we need to look at the 2 parts of a doctoral program. The academic preparation, the classes that the students take, really prepare them with knowledge of the content. But conducting a doctoral research project is very different than acquiring knowledge through our online classes. So there's really 2 sets of skills and competencies that students need. And we also know that students who don't finish a doctoral program often drop out before they finish their dissertation, or in this case, their ADP. So we are really very interested in making certain that we're setting our students up for success. set of doctoral research outcomes that we've identified, and we've begun to map back to a set of courses that are designed to help students prepare for that doctoral research project. And as you peruse those quickly, you'll find that those look an awful lot like, gee, that's what you have to do to write a dissertation. Well, that is what you have to do to write a dissertation, and it's what you need to do to write an applied doctoral project as well. So to these research outcomes, we have mapped a series of courses that are designed to prepare our students for success. So we have a series of courses and required in-residence sessions that complement the formal research classes that students take in each of their academic programs. And I want to just quickly cover these so you understand how we're scaffolding for success in our doctoral programs. We have 2 scholarly argument classes, 3 required in-residence sessions, 2 ADP planning courses, and then of course the specific research courses. So let's take a look at each of those individually. Scholarly argument courses are relatively new additions to our doctoral programs, and they are required for all of the doctoral programs, no matter which program or which specialization. Our intent here is to introduce students to research literacy. How do you conduct research? How do you absorb information? How do you distinguish between good information and bad information? The first scholarly argument course comes about the 3rd or 4th class in a student's program. So very early on in the sequence of courses. And that course is intended to get students to be thinking about a topic. It doesn't have to be their final research topic, but take a topic and begin to explore the different kinds of literature with which they can examine the topic, and to really think about where there's an opportunity to conduct research. The second scholarly argument course comes in the 2nd year of a student's program, and at that point the student has asked to identify a specific topic or research question, and then look at more in depth at how does the literature support the need for a project in this area. What are the ethical considerations about doing research, and what kind of research might make sense in terms of this particular topic. So these are integrated into the program, and they nicely complement the work that we do in our in-residence sessions. These in-residence sessions are offered in person. We have virtual in-residence programs, but they're limited to students who aren't able to travel. We really believe that the in-person in-residence makes a whole lot of sense for a variety of reasons. The in-residences are where students begin to create a community of scholars and learners, and where we as faculty can engage with students, can talk to them about what they're interested in, where they're going. They can work on their scholarly skills. We, through the in-residence sessions, we help them identify a topic, do research on that topic, and begin to design the kind of project that they might want to have. At the 3rd in-residence, students either are designing a draft problem statement or a justification statement for our applied doctoral project. So these are very important courses that give us a chance over a long weekend to work one-on-one with our students, one-on-one and in a group. The next series of courses are the planning courses, and these come at the very end of a student's doctoral program. These courses are different than our regular courses. They're 9-week courses as opposed to our regular 6 weeks courses, and they're intended to help the student work sequentially through the project justification template, which is an outline of what their research project's going to be. These are pass, not pass classes. They're very intensive. All of us have taught them, and we know that the students sometimes take a big gulp of air and say, oh my gosh, this is really where the rubber meets the road in terms of being able to design what they want to do for their doctoral research project. We let students progress through the class at their own pace. So some students who are ahead of the curve can move more quickly, and those that are not working as quickly can get more one-on-one time. We spend a lot of time on the phone with our students. We do a lot of coaching, but our goal is for the student to have a completed, approved project justification template at the end of the 18 weeks. And during that period of time, The students also complete their human subjects protection training, and they select a chair for their committee. These courses, as I said, supplement the research courses that are required of the various programs. They differ from one to another. In our PsyD program, our ADP students are prepared with 3 research courses: advanced research methods, evidence-based practice, and action research. So these 3 courses, the 3 research courses, the scholarly argument, the in-residences, and then the ADP planning courses, hopefully will get students to the point where they have a chair, they have a completed and approved project justification template, and they've outlined the study so they're ready to go into an ADP course with their chair and their committee. And that's where Rebecca's going to pick it up to talk about that, because it's a unique approach. And I will, did you request to share, Rebecca, or do you want me to? You've got it.
Okay, hopefully that's working.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's my opportunity to talk about the roles of the ADP chair and committee, as well as the structure of the ADP courses. One of the opportunities we had with introducing the ADP, the Applied Doctoral Project, was an opportunity to revamp and add some significant changes to the way we were currently doing our dissertation programs, although some of these changes also apply to the dissertation. Our committee composition for both programs include a chair, a committee member, and then a methodologist who kind of sits in as the advisor. We encourage our students to choose their own chair based on perhaps faculty members they've worked with in their courses, folks they know from in residence, or other experiences they may have had. However, if they have difficulty connecting with a chair or don't know folks that are available, we will certainly assign one for them. Committee members are assigned by the university based on their area of expertise and knowledge in the area that the student is interested in. And the methodologist is also assigned by the university to act in that consultant role to help the students and the chairs ensure that the project is viable. One of the changes is that all members of the committee must be employees of Ashford University. In the past, we allowed faculty members from other universities or other places, but the decision was made to have only internal folks at this time. All of the members must be trained. They must be approved, in this case, as ADP chairs in addition to dissertation chairs. So there is some very unique and specific training that goes with the opportunity to serve as an ADP chair. And basically, the committee chair does the same roles that they would in a dissertation. They kind of facilitate the process for the student. They're available to the student as advisor and support. They are immediately in the classroom with the students, very actively engaged. They're providing the feedback. They're coordinating the committee members and kind of helping to keep the flow of all of the different parts and pieces. As we move forward, one of the significant changes that we've made is in the opportunity to work in the course room with the students. So you can see what the committee members' roles are, which is to basically work beside the chair and supporting the students' knowledge and ability to move forward and present their research, complete their research. The methodologist has the same. They're just reviewing at certain key points to ensure that the research proposal is strong, the project justification is complete, and the methodological quality is there. So again, kind of a consultant role. So as we moved into the ADP, traditionally our students have enrolled in the dissertation process in a single core course that has been the same for each of their experiences. So it has some resources in it, it has some links in it, and it's kind of been a generic shell for all of the courses. With the ADP, we really wanted to ensure that our students had a series of 5 courses to move through systematically, that we were able to set some milestones so that students and chairs would know what satisfactory progress is, what the expectations were for each of the milestones, and how we could measure their progress and make it more transparent to everyone. So with this, we designed a series of 5 courses, each of which has some significant milestones embedded in the course, has significant assignments each week in the course, and very much mirrors the experience that students have had to date. So trying to keep students on track with the same Monday night due date, weekly discussion post, weekly submissions, those types of things to ensure that they're staying in that same groove they've been successful with, that they're committing as much or more time than they may have been in their courses, and that they're making that progress that we're able to successfully monitor. So with that, each of the 5 courses has a significant, one or more significant milestones that the students are required to meet in order to move into the next course. Now, we also understand very well that this is a flexible process, that as much as we'd love to have everyone progress on the same timeline and in the same manner, there are situations where things may get hung up. Research may need to happen during a specific time, such as over a school year with teachers, or summer break, if that's when they can best focus. But ideally, the program has been designed so that in the first 9-week course, the students will have an approved project justification template, which should have been completed in the Planning 2 course, but still will need approval from both the committee and the chair and the methodologist, and that they will also complete their Chapter 1. So that's 9 weeks to finish both of those milestones. At the end of course 1, there's 3 possible outcomes. One would be pass, which means they have done those 2 things. They are great. They're ready to move on to Chapter 2. Chapter 1 has been approved. The PJT has been approved, and they're moving forward. A PR, which would be a progress grade, would show, okay, they're doing well. They've made some progress. They've got probably a PJT, but maybe they're still stuck on Chapter 1 and need a bit more time, in which case they will go ahead and repeat that first course in order to allow them sufficient time to complete and approve a Chapter 1. If they only need 5 weeks to complete Chapter 1, they can certainly move on to Chapter 2, but it allows them that additional time, but still honors the work and progress they've made. An NP or not pass would be awarded for that student who just hasn't been successful in getting a PJT completed, that is not making sufficient progress, perhaps isn't completing the weekly assignments and postings that are required in the course room, and just isn't demonstrating the desire and time necessary to be successful. With a not pass, they will still be allowed to retake the course, but that will be a significant, I'd say, mark on their record, and a bit of a warning to say, you need to step it up, you need to be meeting these requirements, you need to be demonstrating your commitment in order to continue in this program. What we really don't want, this is the only place in higher ed where retention is a bad thing. We really don't want to retain our students endlessly at the end of their journey towards that ADP. So in order to ensure that they're progressing and that they know their progress and the requirements, we've added this added structure. So the second course, we're expecting to get Chapter 2, which is the literature review. So Chapter 1 is introduction, Chapter 2 is the literature review. Ideally, it finished in their second course. The third course gets a little bit time pressured in 9 weeks. We want them to have completed Chapters 1 through 3. So final copy on those, final edit, really ready to go. We want them to schedule and have their preliminary oral defense, which is where they're presenting their proposed research, their first 3 chapters, to their committee, so to their methodologist, their committee member, and their chair, and defending why it's a significant problem, why it's worthy of investigation, and why they're interested in conducting this particular research. With those 2 things completed and approved, and an IRB application submitted. So it doesn't need to be approved. That does take a little bit of time, but we want them to have gotten their defense approved and submitted the paperwork for the IRB. They will then move on to their 4th course, where hopefully they will get that IRB approved immediately and be able to move on to the project execution. So that's the actual doing of the research. So whatever it is that was approved in their third course, in the fourth course, they're going to actually execute that, collect their data, complete their surveys, interviews, whatever it is their proposal includes. And then in their fifth course, they will complete writing their final chapter, because the ADP is 4 chapters rather than 5. So the final chapter, which is a summary of their findings, significance of their findings, and a few other things, have all 4 chapters completely revised, polished, ready to go, and schedule and pass their oral defense. The final manuscript review and institutional approval may happen after they've completed all of their 5 courses. They do not have to be in enrolled status to have that done, but they do have to be in enrolled status to do their final oral defense. So this is the ideal progress. We instituted this in, I believe, the 1st of July. I think we have a first couple of students that are actually in the 2nd course at this time and making ideal progress so far. So we're hoping that this added structure, these timelines, these specific due dates, and additional supports with embedded resources, embedded links, embedded samples, templates, all of those things will help our students to successfully navigate over 5 9-week courses to completion of their applied doctoral project.
Well, great. Well, Dr. Wardlow, Dr. Rice, Dr. Sundstrom, I hate to end things, but we are at the stopping point, and I do want to just, Dr. Wardlow, I hate to interrupt you. Is there any last comments you wanted to make before we wrap things up?
No, I think that we've got the most important part on here, which is our contact information, and the opportunity to answer any questions or follow up with any of you would be wonderful. So please feel free to reach out to any of us.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I want to give a special thanks to Dr. Sundstrom, Dr. Wardlow, and Dr. Rice for their presentation, and to everyone for joining us today. I do see that the questions were answered in the chat box, so thank you for our presenters keeping up with that. And just want to encourage everyone, if you don't already have it, there is a TLC app, so make sure that you search Ashford TLC in your favorite app store. And start engaging with other attendees and presenters. And thank you all for being here, and enjoy the rest of TLC. Thank you.